Let me get my chat box up. So let's see here if I can log into my own chat. Find myself. Not yet. So let me go to my own page. The 12:29. Hey, look, there I am. And I'm live. Excellent. Network error? Yeah, figures. Okay, so got my chat going there. All right. Hi, everyone. I've got enchiladas tonight with quesadillas and some refried beans. So, hope you like Mexican. Now, what I do with my show is I try to give you a little bit of semi-homemade. That way, if you have some kind of situation where you can't, do a big, glamorous, huge, gigantic meal type thing, you can basically just go in and get a can of something or get a package of something or something that is already mostly done and just add a few ingredients and make it your own. So that's what we're doing tonight. For the most part, it's just simple stuff. Enchiladas are super easy. Quesadillas, super easy. And refried beans, not much to it at all. First thing is a pan, a skillet, preferably. Skillet's shallow and usually gets pretty hot so that you can take care of things like meats or stuff like onions, those kind of things. And then, hey Ashley, what we're going to do is we're going to skillet fry this hamburger meat with some onions and some garlic and some peppers. Sorry about that. Look at that pepper. These aren't jalapenos. I don't know exactly what they are, but they're a little bit bigger than a jalapeno. They're maybe California? No, not California's. Anaheim's. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. So, hamburger meat's in there. How are you doing, Ashley? I'm going to get some I'm keeping this on hand nowadays. This is chipotle smoked Tabasco and chili lime Cholula. Both of them are very good. Also going to grab a jar of lime and garlic cantina style salsa. A block of Colby Jack cheese. What else did I need out of here? 4-star beef chili. This is my favorite way to do chili. Some green chilies and El Pato jalapeno sauce. This stuff, this is my secret weapon. So, if you ever want to know my secret weapon for cooking Mexican food, El Pato jalapeno sauce. I call it the green can just because it's easier whenever my wife or my kids are shopping to just say, give me the green can stuff. Because they know what I'm talking about. You can find it in your Hispanic food aisle in Walmart or your grocery store. Sometimes it might be with the tomatoes because, strangely enough, tomatoes have their own section of the canned vegetable aisle. So if you can't find El Pato in your Hispanic food aisle or your international food aisles, try with your tomatoes. Sometimes your supermarkets will put those in there together. Okay. I am actually cooking for 3 people tonight, and strangely enough, I probably will end up eating by myself. I don't know. But I'm going to be making enchiladas for me and my wife, and quesadillas for my son and his boyfriend, and refried beans for me. So, yeah, I know there's 4 people in there, but not everybody's eating all the same stuff. So I kind of mix it all up, and really I'm only cooking for 3 people at a time, no matter which way I go. Oh, the reason why I like this stuff, I've used Wolf Brand chili in the past, but this comes in this little brick. It's packaged, it's sealed. But the neat thing that you can do is, if you're in a household of 1 or 2 people, this is a lot of chili for just 1 or 2 people. So cut this into sections and wrap them up separately, and then you can use what you need. I'm going to cut these into 4ths, and then that way I can use it for hot dogs or frito chili pie or something like that down the road. One of the things that I got during all of my after Christmas shopping extravaganza was cutting boards. Lots of cutting boards. Lots of different colored cutting boards. And the reason for that is I can now separate them out into the different styles. So that one's for fish, and that one's for beef, and that one is for veggies. And that way you kind of limit your cross-contamination over time. Well, that sounds like fun, Ashley. I hope you have a safe and joyful New Year's night. My New Year's tradition is to sit around being comfy and then usually go to bed before 10 o'clock. So, I don't envy anybody their ability to go out and party. Hey, that's great. Go out and do that. I like to stay home. That's just me. Of course, part of that was being a pastor. Being a pastor, there's not a lot of celebrating that people are accepting of for pastors. You know, we can go and we can have a party, but usually not very appropriate for me to imbibe in front of people, because most of the churches where I worked, the pastor was above all of that kind of stuff. Every now and then we'd do a church party, but they weren't nearly as much fun as everybody else's. Plus, I'm just not a big party person. Kind of dull. Alright. By the way, I'm going to strain this out when it gets done, so we'll go ahead and get those things ready. And one of the things that I do, this isn't really healthy, but my dogs are spoiled. You've probably seen me talk to them like they are people. Well, yeah, they get treated like people a lot, including with their food. And so one of the things that I do, and like I said, this isn't healthy, it's contributing to their unhealthiness, but whenever I drain this stuff off, first of all I pull a little bit of the hamburger meat out, and I take the grease and I set that aside, and so whenever I fix their bowls for supper, they get a little bit of flavoring of the actual beef to go in their dog food, just to kind of help them with that. So call that your bonus tip for the evening. You can trick your dogs into thinking they're getting better food than they actually are. And I have my camera set up there, but I have my chat set up down here so I can see what's going on, because I wanted to try a little bit wider view for people to be able to see everything that's going on. So I'm going to adjust it as I go. Maybe I'll be able to see my workspace a little bit better as I go down the line. Just a little bit longer. Need to get my seasonings out for my meat, because I season my enchilada meat just like I season my taco meat. And if you were with me for my taco show, you know, I'm going to use a lot of the same things. This is a garlic, herb, and black powder and sea salt mix. I'm going to put a little bit of ancho honey citrus spice. And not cinnamon. Don't want cinnamon in there. I mean, cinnamon wouldn't be bad, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for cumin. Cumin, where are you? Hi, Kobe. What you doing, little bit? Ah, there it is. Cumin. I was also... Oh, wait. I got something else. Ah, I thought I was out. Cilantro. Frozen little pellets of cilantro. So, without cilantro, I don't know what I'd be having. Probably Italian. Who knows? Just kidding. I'd be having bland Mexican food, in my opinion. Alright, so just a little bit longer on the meat. I'll go ahead and turn my oven on so that I can have it preheating. I'm going to set it at 350, just so it'll be hot enough. I'm going to get my cheese grater right here and a plate for all of the cheese I'm going to grate. And then get cheese open. I don't know how the audio's doing, so if anybody is watching and you can tell me how the audio is, please let me know, because I can't tell if I'm loud enough or not. Definitely don't like the camera way up there, but adjustments. That's what it's all about. Okay. I find cutting the cheese into smaller pieces, smaller blocks, makes it easier to grate. Turn it over. Hey, Maths. Thank you very much. Appreciate the sound check and for you coming by. How you doing? Things going good? Just grating up some Monterey Jack here for my enchiladas. This is actually going to go somewhat in the bowl, but also, in the enchiladas, but also on top. And I'll probably hold a little bit back for my refried beans, and then that way they get a little bit of a cheesy texture. Christmas good for you, Mads? Ashley, are you ready for getting back into a normal pattern of life after all of the holidays and the craziness? Well, I hope I make people hungry watching this. I know I get hungry whenever I'm cooking, and that's an important part of enjoying it, is if you get hungry watching yourself make what you're fixing, you know you're going to enjoy it more. That's fine, Maths. I understand. If you're cooking, you're going to be busy, so no worries there. All right, cheese is grated. I'll throw that away. All right, set the cheese off to the side. think my hamburger meat is almost done. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's good and done. So I'm going to drain it off. That pan is not going to go very far because I'm going to use it for the quesadillas in just a little bit. I will make a different cheese for the quesadillas, so don't worry about that. Let's see. Next up, we got that. It's time to cut up my vegetables. So like I said, I got a bunch of different colors of cutting boards, and now I can separate that out into the different things that I'm cutting up. My favorite knife, this is my Santaku. By the way, just for clarity's sake, I am not sharpening my knife right now. I am honing my knife. There's a difference. So if you see somebody doing that and they say they're sharpening it, they're not. Sharpening it is a much more delicate operation, something that requires a lot more attention to detail and a lot more focus on what you're doing, because sharpening a knife is actually cutting away from the steel that makes up the knife. What you do when you hone it is that you're really just bringing the edge of the blade at a very, very, very microscopic level to straightness. To hone something means to bring it in, and whenever you cut with a knife, you actually bend the edge, the very edge of your cutting blade. And so to hone it, you rub it against the steel to bring that back in, and so by bending it back and forth just a little bit, you get it straight on. This onion is not any good, so it's going in the trash. Which is great because I would rather use one of these. Whoa. There went Chat. Come here, Chat. Okay, there we go. Back to Chat. Oh, much better, much better. Alright, here we go. Just give that a little peel. Sorry, lost my focus there for a second. Had to bring myself back in. When you're using a knife, you don't want to lose much focus. If you do, you might lose something more than focus. Alright, there we go. Like I said, I just take, an outer layer or two off just to make sure I get down to the good part of the onion. The paper of the onion, it's not that useful, but I just like to make sure that it's a good surface, and so I take it down to a good layer of white. All right. Now, this is, hang on just a second. By the way, the background noise is my wife quarantined in our bedroom watching Netflix's Warrior Nun. I don't know if it's too loud or not. I'm talking, but it could be in the background of the sound. But you're fine. Yes, she has COVID, or at least we think she has COVID. She was exposed over the weekend, holidays, on Christmas Day, and we found out about it on the Sunday after Christmas, and then she started displaying symptoms, so we took her for a test, and the test didn't come back very conclusive, but we went ahead and played it safe, and we put her into quarantine modified quarantine because she'd already been dancing around the house with me. So I felt like I was definitely already exposed, but I'm asymptomatic. So I don't feel too bad about her semi-quarantine status. But we do have a couple of other people in the house who don't have as much exposure to her, so I don't want to continue to, possibly infect other people that way. So she's in the bedroom there, watching TV and being extremely bored. Alright, just got some onions cut up using my diagonal cutting method. I can show you that in another episode, or you can go back and watch one of my previous streams where I did that. Now, let's see. Let's do my pepper next. I don't have any more jalapenos, but I had some of these bigger peppers in the freezer, so I went ahead and just decided to pull these out and use them. Who knows how hot they will be, but that's okay. It won't hurt anybody too bad. Just cut those into slices and then chop them into little bitty cubes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put these right into the meat. I'm going to dump some of the onions in there. A lot of the onions, to be honest. I'm going to save some of those onions for my refried beans. Let's move my cheese right there. I'm going to get one more pepper because why not? Just slice off the end, pull out the core. You can knock some of those seeds out of there. And this method works with just about any pepper. It doesn't have to be jalapenos or, any particular hot pepper, but it works. This method works with any pepper that you may want to use, even bell peppers. The thing is the hotter the pepper you use, the more likely you'll want to use gloves to protect yourself. Or do your best to remember to keep your hands away from your eyes and your nose and other soft tissues on your body. So, there you go. And yes, my hair is bugging me again. Okay, so let's put some green chilies in. Come here, can opener. As far as can openers go, some people like their automatic ones, some people like their old traditional ones, some people like their P38s and the little bladed kind that you really have to work at. But I have found that I really do love these. This is from Pampered Chef. But what it does is that instead of cutting into the can, it cuts around the rim so that instead of leaving you with the jagged edge and the jagged blade, you have a lot smoother edge on that, so you don't possibly cut yourself. Alright, saving back a little bit of the green. I'm going to go ahead and toss the green chilies in with the onions. Okay. Now it's seasoning time. Again, this is the garlic and herb, black pepper, and sea salt. Yeah, I put a lot in there. And this is the ancho, honey, and citrus. And I put a lot in there. It's really just, it's your eyeball. If you like it spicy, put a lot of spice in it. Cumin, because I like cumin. And we're going to get a bowl and mix that up. Remember, I've drained my hamburger meat, so we've lost a lot of that grease off of it, so it's a little healthier, not much. And using a clean spoon, mix that up in there. And I want to find, there it is, my chili lime cantina style salsa. Pour a little bit of that in there, because it's going to give us a little bit of liquid inside of the enchiladas. Not a lot. We don't want it to soak and saturate from the inside out, because we're going to be putting our jalapeno sauce on top of it, like an enchilada sauce. Okay, now we need an enchilada pan. 9 by 13, 8 by 8, 9 by 9, whatever it takes for you to be able to get your enchiladas in a pan, that's what you want to use. You don't want to get all crazy and try to find the particular kind of pan and, some kind of Mexican crockery or things like that. Just find a good, reliable pan. Okay, now, here we go. Just have flour tortillas, and I'm going to put them on my red one here. There. Okay, now I've just mixed all of this up into the bowl, and so you can kind of see everything is just a fine hamburger style mixture. And I want just a little bit of a scoop right here. I'm going to put about a scoop, maybe a little more. We'll see how it goes. These are going to be small enchiladas. These are not gigantic burrito style tortillas. These are just fajita style. I've begun to really pay attention to my tortilla sizes, because there are different sizes for different reasons. I've been used to making gigantic tacos, and I've learned that using a burrito tortilla for a taco and eating 2 or 3 of those, you feel kind of miserable at the end of supper. But switch to a fajita tortilla, and eat 2 or 3 of those, you don't feel as miserable by the time supper's over. By the way, I'm just rolling these. I'm not trying to make it real tight and super snug. I just want to kind of roll it up like a taco, like that. And I try to stick it right where it's tight to the next one. Okay. I have 3 more tortillas. And I have room for 1 more enchilada. Okay, here we go. Perfect. Now, there's a little bit of stuffing left in there. I'm just going to set it back off to the side. We'll use it for something a little bit later. I'm going to set my tortillas over there for a little bit later. I'm going to set these knives out of the way because I don't need them. All right, now, chili. What am I doing with chili, you wonder? Well, some enchiladas have a chili Some enchiladas have a red sauce. I'm actually going to be doing a little bit of both. So I'm going to go ahead and use my fish cutting board here, and I'm going to slice my chili. Ooh, I'm going to get 5 out of this one. All right, perfect. And I was saying earlier that this stuff, 4-star beef chili, is amazing. It's great chili. You find it in where the hot dogs are. It's in a box. It comes in this envelope package. And you can take it right out, cut it into sizes, and you can portion it out for the number of people that you have in your household. Lisa and I like to have chili with our hot dogs. We like chili dogs every now and then, or I like chili for a burger. And so I will, mix these up. Not mix them up, but cut them up into little portions and be able to wrap those up in their own way. And then I will have chili at the right size for what we need whenever we just have supper for us. Just going to stick them in the freezer so they freeze up so I can wrap them up. And this one I'm going to use for supper tonight. So I got 5 out of that one, which is pretty good. I was paying attention. This is just going to go in a bowl, pop it in the microwave. And heat it up. So let's go for, a minute. See what happens. Put my onion there. Throw this away. And I want another bowl real quick. There we go. That's the one I want right there. We went on a purge last week, or this week, or something, 1 week, and we got rid of all of our bowls, all of our plasticware, and bought matching plasticware. So, that's a very important thing. I was getting so frustrated with it. So now we have matching plasticware, so I don't have to go looking for the right lid for the right bowl. Now all I have to do is get the right size and the right shape. Which, thanks to Tupperware, I learned how to do sorting of shapes and sizes when I was a kid. For those of you who are as old as I am, you will get that reference. For those of you who are younger than I am and you don't even know what a Tupperware is, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Okay, so I have salsa. I need to open up my... Alright. Sorry, my tweeter, not my Twitter, but my Star Trek notification let me know that somebody's sending me messages. Alright, so this is just El Pato jalapeno sauce. I just put a little bit in there. About half a can. And I'm going to add just a drop or two of Chipotle Tabasco. A drop or two of Cholula. A little bit of garlic. A little bit of cumin. Yeah, it's essentially the same seasonings that I put inside the tortilla, I'm putting outside the tortilla. And I'm going to stir this up. Alright. I'm going to add just a little bit of this sauce to my chili, but I'm not going to use all of it. I'm just going to put part of it in there. Then I'm going to stir up the chili and my sauce in here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put I'm going to make two kinds. I'm going to use the red sauce on some of it, and I'm going to use chili on the rest. So, grab my enchiladas. Ta-da. I have 6 enchiladas. Put chili. Well, let's do it this way. Because since there's sauce in the chili, I'm going to go ahead and put sauce on 3. And then that way, if some of it sloshes over, I don't have chili on an extra one. I have sauce on an extra one, and I've already put sauce on there. So, now, we put chili over on these. Made chicken and noodles last night, semi-homemade chicken and noodles. So, for those of you who are envious of that, sorry, I did not video it. I just made those. Rough day yesterday, so I kind of just took it easy and cooked supper. Put that in there. Now, cheese. Here's my pile of cheese that is going to go right on top of there. My semi-quarantined wife is roaming around the house doing laundry. That's right, people. I make my sick wife do laundry. I am a horrible person. So, there you go. Secret's finally out. No, you cannot have cheese. Okay, this is going in the oven. It's going to cook about 30 minutes to make sure that the cheese is nice and bubbly, but we'll check it in about 15. So, it goes right in there. We're going to put the timer on for 15 minutes. But I'm just going to keep in my mind that we're most likely going to have to do that for 20 minutes or 30 just to make sure. Now we're going to work on the refried beans. Just using a little saucepan. Open up my refried beans. But before I get to that, I want to soften up my onions. Now remember, my onions and my green chilies are already in one pan, or in a bowl. So, Kobe's going to get a nice little surprise of refried beans on the floor. Okay, so I'm going to put this over here. Turn the heat on. Drop just a little bit of olive oil in there. Not that the flavor matters. The reality is that most olive oil that we buy at affordable price points isn't really good quality olive oil to begin with. It's probably been mixed with something. So yeah, we may get a little bit of that fresh olive press flavor, but we're not going to get, it's not going to be a great quality olive oil. That, or it's going to be a late pressing, and so it's not a super good quality. So don't worry about it. The thing that you want to watch out for on olive oil is burning it. Because if you burn it, if you scorch that oil, it does change the flavors a little bit and it doesn't taste as good. So just kind of keep an eye on your heat. Compared to like canola oil or peanut oil or sunflower oil, those can all handle a lot higher heat. So if you ever get a burnt flavor, you're probably just getting your oil too hot. So just swap it out for something else like a canola oil or vegetable oil, sunflower oil. Peanut oil is kind of expensive to use for every day, but if that's something you like, go right ahead. All right, doesn't take much to get heat up, so let's just let that work a little bit. You know what, since I already have that cheese grated, I'm going to use it for quesadillas, and I'm going to put something else in my refried beans. I think I'm going to put some sharp cheddar in my refried beans, just to change the flavor profile of the beans a little bit. oil wasn't quite hot enough, but that's okay. The onions are going to absorb a little bit, and that's going to be better to cook them. It'll soften up with that oil a little bit better. Plus, it'll burn off or boil off some of the moisture in the green chilies, so we don't get nearly as much sizzling. Sizzling is not always a good thing. All right. I have a little bit of just Kraft shredded triple cheddar cheese. I'm going to use that, and I want my sharp cheddar. And I just happened to look at my bag and see that I have some Monterey Jack that I've got opened. So I'm going to make my own cheddar jack. If you've ever wondered how cheeses like that came about, that's how they came about. Somebody mixed two kinds of cheeses. Ta-da! Monterey Jack and Colby Jack, or Colby. There you go, Colby Jack. Cheddar Jack. Black Jack. No, there's no black cheese. Okay, so I just want a hunk of Monterey Jack and a hunk of cheddar. Yeah, this is just great value cheddar cheese. This is great value big block cheese. The thing is that whenever I'm cooking with something, whenever I'm putting something together, I'm not going to use really great ingredients. I'm not going to use the higher profile brands and things like that. I'm just going to use what I can use to make the food that I want to make. That's it. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and put these out of my way because I'm getting them messed up. By the way, for all my pickle fans out there, Clausen refrigerated dill pickles now comes in a mammoth jar. I am so happy. I'm in a huge pickle thing. So I gotta have pickles. Alright, now to kind of give me that cheddar jack experience, I'm going to take my 2 blocks of cheese and I'm going to stick them together and I'm going to grate them just like that. Here's my onions sizzling just a little bit, not overly. They're just kind of getting nice and soft and they're working that oil and the green chili juice. Alright, it's a nice amount for my beans. Don't want a lot in there, but a little bit. Plus, want a little bit for messing with the quesadillas a little. Alright, onions are looking good, so let's go ahead and put our refried beans. This is just Bush's beans. You could use any flavor, any can, any brand. I've made my own refried beans. They are better, yes, so taking the time to do it. Homemade does give you control, and you can control the flavor and how it tastes. You eliminate some of those preservatives and things that you cannot control. So, yeah, homemade refried beans, they do taste better. But you don't have to. You can use canned stuff all the time just as a fill-in. So, don't worry about that. What I like to do is get it nice and soft. And then I'm going to add my green stuff. Okay. Mix that in. It's going to give it just that slightly redder color than the brown that came out of the can. I like to think that it makes it look a little more natural, because the canned stuff looks just disturbingly bad. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this bag of Kraft pre-shredded cheese, which is why I try to say that slower, because if you do shredded too fast, doesn't sound right. Or does it sound good? All right, wash a little bit of that stuff off. Just letting that cheese melt a little bit on top. If you like things a little spicier, you can play with things like Tabasco or hot sauce or salsa, things like that. I mean, if you want refried beans that taste more like you would get in a Mexican restaurant, put some salsa in there. Find your favorite salsa and mix that in. If you like paste, hey, I'm not going to pick on you, but you can do better, okay? I'm going to turn the heat down just a little bit on that. I am going to kick the flavors up just a bit with my ancho honey citrus spice. I just love this stuff. You get, let's see, dried chilies, dried honey, salt, natural flavors, paprika, onion, garlic, dried cane syrup, citric acid, silicon dioxide, and mace. I don't know what mace is, but hey, you know, if it controls crowds, it'll taste good, I'm sure. Mix that in. Oh, I'll pass on the pickles, but glad you got a good stock of them. Yeah, I run out quite frequently on pickles, so, and those are really, really good. Classen's my favorite. I do have some leads on some others that I need to pick up, but Classen are my favorite. Yeah, beans. I'm really the only one in the household that likes them, so the refried beans are mostly just for me, and I'm okay with that. Tomorrow I may make burritos out of them. The day after that I may make more refried beans. I don't know. I'll just use them for bean dip or something like that. Okay, I don't really need any of these seasonings for my quesadillas because they requested cheese quesadillas. Found a couple of jalapenos floating in the freezer. A few weeks ago, I split up a big bag of fajita size tortillas. Broke them up into 3 packages and wrapped them in saran wrap, then wrapped them in wax paper and put them in the freezer so that I could use them down the road. And since I only had a couple left, now I want to go ahead and just throw these in the microwave for a little bit, see if I can get them to loosen up so I can use these for my quesadillas. This stuff's of the devil. Saran wrap of the devil. By the way, saran wrap's one of those fancy words that is actually a brand, not actually the product. The product is plastic wrap. Just so you know, when you say saran wrap, you're using a particular brand. I'm going to put them in there for 20 seconds. I have 3 minutes left on my enchiladas before I check those. I'm going to get a paper towel and wipe the oil that's been sitting in my skillet out. It's not going to get all of it. It's going to leave a little bit in there, and that's okay. I'm going to transfer my beans back to the back. Turn those down a little bit so that they're not overly crazy hot. Okay, quesadillas. It's just a grilled cheese sandwich. You're just not using bread and butter, and you're not, well, you are technically grilling it, but you know what I mean. See you later, Maths. Hey, have a happy and safe new year to you also. Take care of yourself, take care of your family. Look out for others, and maybe 2021 won't just completely suck. So, take care. All right, let's see. Nope, I'm gonna need a little bit more time on those. So I'm gonna go another 20 seconds. Now, I do have my old traditional standby, which is Southern style sweet tea, but tonight I'm going to be trying a vanilla porter that I picked up. This is going to be my drink of choice tonight from Breckenridge Brewery in Colorado. And so that's what I'm going to be drinking with my enchiladas tonight. I have one of those in the fridge, chilling. So, okay. Those aren't too bad. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so grab two. They're about the same size. I did learn that you want to find the side of the tortilla that has the most brown on it. Okay? So there's one side that's cooked just a little bit more than the other on every tortilla. Okay? So you just want to pick the one that has the most cooking. See, now that one's real close. It's tough. But I'm going to go with the side with the circles. And the ones that have the most cooking, slap them down in your pan. Take a good sized amount of cheese, up like that. Sprinkle it right on there. Take your other tortilla, remember, with your cooked side out, place it right down on top of that. One of the things that I've learned over the years is that if you really want to get your cheese nice and gooey on the inside, cover your pan. Just take a lid or another pan or something, stick it on top of it, and it will help get your cheese gooey because it radiates the heat downward. Oh, speaking of gooey cheese, the cheese is very gooey on the enchiladas, so I want to add about 7 minutes to that. Why? Because what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to try to get it to brown and crisp just a little bit on the outside edges. Okay, I need a burger. That'll work. And let's see. Yeah, definitely hoping for something better in 2021. Although, honestly, 2021 has been a mixed bag for me. Yeah, losing a lot of everything, but gaining a lot of myself back has been huge. I mean, you can follow me on Instagram and get more of the in-depth day-to-day stuff, but truly 2020 has been... I lost my family, but I got them back. I lost my job, but I was already losing it before I left it. I was losing my sanity, and I finally found some stable ground. So, you see, there is some trade-offs. And while, yeah, I think that every one of us have lost a lot, or we've suffered a lot, or we've had to deal with things that we never normally have to deal with, I think we might find that there's also some really good stuff that's happened to us in this year, and that's life. That's what happens every year. We gain something, we lose something. Worst year of my life probably wasn't 2020. You know, the worst year of my life was probably the year that my grandmother died. And I moved from the place that I loved to a new place. I went from a city to the country. That was probably the worst year, and I was only about 9 or 10 years old when that happened. So that was probably my worst year. Or it could have been the year that my dad left and never came back. Of course, I didn't know he wasn't coming back, but that left a hole in my life that I'm just now figuring out in counseling and therapy. So, you know, every one of us has bad years. Every one of us has not so bad years. But if we just focus on the bad, then eventually what's going to happen is that we're going to expect the bad. And I've already seen people saying 2021 isn't looking any better than 2020. Well, maybe it's because we spent so much of 2020 griping and complaining about how bad 2020 was instead of trying to find the good. You know, some amazing things happened this year. I challenge you, go out and find them. Some amazing things happened this year. But we didn't pay nearly as much attention to those great and amazing things because by the end of the newscast, by the end of the article, by the end of the web page or the blog we were reading, someone somewhere probably went back and had to talk about how bad things were. Go find some good news. If nothing else, go back and watch John Krasinski's Some Good News shows. CBS has dropped the ball on that, as I knew they would. They didn't get the show out after they took over from Krasinski, but there was a new episode. John did a new special Christmas episode of Some Good News, and it's just as amazing as the other parts. So if you've not seen it, go back and watch John Krasinski's Some Good News. If you have watched it, go back and watch it again. It'd be a great way to wrap up 2020. It'd be a great way to start 2021. In fact, I'm planning on doing that. I'm going to go back and watch it. Not just because I want something good, but I'm also thinking about maybe doing something like that of my own. So, just check it out, really. All that to say, we've all had some good news in our life in 2020. We just take some time and think about it and maybe give ourselves a break from the negativity that we've created for ourselves, those things might show up a lot better. Yeah, my workspace is really turning into a wreck here. I'm not keeping up with it. But now that I'm working on that quesadilla and it's not heating up as quick as I want, I think I'll clean up just a wee bit. All right. Well, that's it. Just a wee bit. No, I'm kidding. Do need my onion keeper. This is a great little tool, great little gadget. It's a Tupperware. I think it has a neat little smiley face on it. But it's shaped as a bowl on one side, and you put your cut onion in there, and then you close it, and you can set it just like that. I forgot to save a little bit of hamburger meat back for my dogs, but that's okay, they'll live. I'll give them a little bit of their own doggy meat. Oh, while I'm not cooking it tonight, I'll show you something that I did stumble across in the supermarket aisle. That is something I am dying to try. If you're familiar with Takis, they are a brand of chips, and they're hot. I mean, I'm just going to admit it. They will burn your tongue, your mouth, your lips, anything that comes into contact with them. Andrew, my youngest, he goes through a big bag of these about every 2 or 3 days. These are a partnership between Takis and Totino's, and so what we have is Taki cheese pockets. They're Takis Fuego mini snack bites, but they're hot chili pepper and lime seasoned bites with a cheesy imitation mozzarella filling. All right, but I'm gonna try those some point. Check my enchiladas. Oh, they look so good. Ah, there we go. My quesadilla is finally kicking up a little bit. I'm gonna turn up a little bit more heat. Put my beans back on the heat because I don't think they're scorching as much anymore. What, Moki? Don't come in here being all mean and sassy like. Food porn. Not only that, but shitty food porn. Come on. Now, it's junk food. Not necessarily shitty. Yeah, I know what you were talking about. Heavens to Murgatroyd even. I like Takis, thank you very much. I like the habanero ones better than the purple bag ones, the Fuegos. Well, if you've never had them, then why are you coming in here and smack talking it? You know, just trust me on this. They're worth it. They're good, especially if you like chili and lime and your lips being on fire. Because I can. And I'm glad you did. It's good to see you, Moki. At least the words that you're typing on the screen I can see. I'm almost finished. The enchiladas are in the oven. They just are finishing up in what's left in the heat in there. I have my refried beans just staying warm on a burner back there, and I'm finishing up this first quesadilla. Oh yeah, that one's good. All right, so second quesadilla is going on. Tortilla. Gonna put a little bit of the cheddar jack on there and pop that down. So are you partying hardy tonight, Moki, or are you just doing your typical staying up late and not sleeping? Let's see. I have a little bit of my El Pato jalapeno sauce, which is, I mean, that stuff is great for, I put it in my salsa, I put it in my enchiladas. Ooh, Spanish rice and chicken. I've never made Spanish rice, mostly because, again, my family's not big on rice. I like rice. I like all kinds of different rice. So I haven't tried that. Not doing anything special. Okay. Neither are we. Lisa's still semi-quarantined in her room occasionally. She's doing laundry right now to take her mind off of being bored, which I guess is a great way to defeat boredom, doing housework. But she's feeling a lot better today than she has, which is good. Because when she's sick, she's whiny. Juniper? Really? Juniper's a bush, right? Isn't it? It's kind of like an evergreen. So you got a lot of like evergreen juniper trees or bushes or shrubs or whatever they are around you? Okay, trees. Couldn't remember. The only way I can remember is that they're bonsai. Junipers are used for bonsai, and so I only consider them that way. I never consider them anything else. Okay, I'm going to use some of this grated cheese this time. Just pre-mushed together Colby Jack's all that is in that one. All right. pine. Oh, okay. It's a type of pine tree. That's good to know. For the longest time, I was allergic to cedar, and my mom kept our artificial Christmas tree in our cedar closet that she had built into our house. And we couldn't have a real tree because I was allergic to cedars, but she kept the artificial tree in a cedar closet. So guess what? It was the same effect every year. Whether we had a real tree or an artificial tree, I still had an allergic reaction to it. So I understand the allergies. Juniper berries. It has those little bitty berries on it. Can't remember if they're good to eat or not. Yeah, definitely be allergic to cedar. At least I was. A little bit of cheese for the cook. You know, I can just barely hear myself on the video. And I realized that, no, I don't have any serious feminine sounding voice. But I kind of gotten over it. I'm okay with that. Well, one way to find out, if you want to, if you're allergic to cedar, is just go out and snip a couple of branches off and bring it in. And if you feel miserable while it's in there, then you're probably allergic. And then take it out. And if you feel better after it's gone, you'll have your answer. I know that sounds super simplistic, but a lot of people don't think about it that way. And they go and they get that crazy allergy test done where they stick you with like 100 needles and just to find out if your skin reacts. You think I sound feminine? Really? Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Lisa says that I sound normal to her, so I'm going to put those two things together and say I've achieved what I've wanted in life. Thank you so much, Moki. I appreciate it. All right, a little bit of beans getting nice and warm. Got my last quesadilla cooking. And now for my enchiladas. Perfect. There you go. Beef enchiladas with red sauce and chili. So, looking good. I'm going to get this last quesadilla flipped over. I'm going to get everything plated up, and then we are going to eat. Moki, thank you for coming by. I appreciate seeing you. Thank you for all of the good compliments. For anybody else who may still be in the chat and just kind of hanging in the background, thank you so much. You all have a great New Year's. Be safe, be healthy, be smart. Our family rules are these. Rule number 1, don't be stupid. Rule number 2, people are stupid. Rule number 3, I'll defend your honor, I won't defend your stupidity. Rule number 4, the power to be stupid is a power to be overcome, and it's very overwhelming. Rule number 5, the ability to overcome rule number 4 is the ability to overcome rule number 1. Rule number 6, early is on time is late, late is unacceptable. And rule number 7, which has just recently been added, is this. Just because you happen to be family doesn't mean you can't be stupid. So, go out, take from our family rules, have a good holiday. Hopefully your 2021 is going to shape up to be amazing. And love you all, appreciate you coming by, and look for some new video content coming in 2021 from Genie V 1229. We'll talk to you later. Bye.